I'm going to analyze a couple of B2B ads that are considered as best practice. But the reason why they're seen as best practice is because the people that create them aren't seeing things from the buyer's perspective. I'm going to analyze these ads from a buyer's perspective, as if I'm a buyer. Ads have two components: what's being said and how it's being said. So let's take a look. In B2B, what's being said has lots of options. There's lots of options for the message, but most fall under a message about a solution. When you talk about your brand, your service, your product, or your valuable content, you describe it as a solution. So if we look at this ebook ad here, which is very common in B2B and it's seen as best practice, what's being said here is look at our valuable content. It's a solution. And now this could be the most valuable ebook in the history of ebooks. But in advertising, the reality doesn't matter. The perceived reality is what matters. And myself, a buyer, does not perceive this as valuable because the brand that is showing this to me is a complete stranger. This is the first ad I see from this brand. I do not perceive this to be valuable. I do not know this person. I do not trust this person. In my experience, most of these ebooks just come from ChatGPT. And not just because they're a stranger, but because there's no clear problem that is framing the need for this content as a solution to that problem. If you're a stranger, you cannot bore me into listening to you. How this is being said is in a rational way, in an ebook. This rational ebook could work later on in the buying journey because decision making becomes more rational. But in the beginning, how your message is communicated needs to be emotional. You cannot bore strangers into listening to you. All right, so this is ad number 2. What's being said here? This is a webinar. It says influence on a budget, building successful campaigns with organic, social, and influencer partnerships. The message really here is look at our valuable content about vague topic described as a solution. But why? Why would I, the buyer, spend an hour with a complete stranger about something that doesn't solve a pressing and painful problem of mine? Yeah, maybe it's nice to have, but I don't have an unlimited amount of time to use on learning random things. It's not a need to have. Now, I mean no disrespect to the two people speaking in this webinar. They're probably experts making really valuable content that they spent a lot of time making. But it's not about the reality, it's about the perceived reality. And webinars are huge in B2B ads. It seems logical. It gets leads and builds trust. But what also builds trust and gets actual leads, people that actually want to buy, is marketing a problem and being remembered as the solution to it. You can't be remembered if no one signs up for your webinar. So maybe later on in the buying journey, when it becomes more rational and the problem is already framed in the mind of the buyers so they understand the need for this content, then this becomes perceived as valuable. But if you're a stranger, this is not valuable at all.